99.3 Nigeria Info. Good morning to you, Lagos. Welcome to Dailies. Today, the second part of the show. I'm Sheriff Quadry.
And I'm Jimi. Disu. Good morning. Happy Independence to all.
Yeah.
Sheriff, I like this, your cap. Is this Independence cap?
No, it's not.
Oh, Natty. Oh,
Navi.
Oh, Natty. By tomorrow, you see this cap on my head. I can assure you. I'm going to take it.
How is that going to
I wait, you see that.
You can watch us on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99 is how you can watch this show on Facebook and on YouTube. Nigeria Info 99.3. Let's start. Nigeria at 64. We must reform or collapse.
I think it's rather to say that we have collapsed and then we need to reform the reform plan because the way I look at it is not working. But the president delivered his speech at 7 a.m. Congrats to the nation. Whatever the situation is a birthday. Yeah, despite the circumstances. And congratulations to the president too. I think this is his, now correct me if I'm wrong, this is his second independence speech.
Yeah.
Yes, that he's going to make. Yeah. And also congratulations to the presidency. This speech, at least to the best of my knowledge, did not leak, which shows that if corrected, they can always get things done. So is it because there's a new person in the saddle? I'll leave you to talk about, think about that. It was still the same old rhetoric. There wasn't much in the new speech that is breaking news, really. It was all historical. We have done this, we inherited this, we did that. It's the same old story and same old song. So there's not much to report about, to be honest with you. So there was a lot of blame shifting, a lot of shifting blame to the previous administration, which, as far as I'm concerned, for the past 8 years or so, before it got to him, it was also an APC government. However, he says that there is hope. We look forward to hope ahead. The times in the days coming, maybe the months coming, we will see what new reforms are going to take place, because definitely what we have in place is, by my own reckoning, is not working, and we might have to try something new. So it's more or less like a State of the Nation report, which of course we all see every day, and I don't think there's anything new to report. Or did you listen to the speech?
Yes, I did.
You did. Did you get anything new?
Not really.
Yeah. So time is valuable, so we can go on to the next one.
Yeah. Let's go take our next story. October 1 protest. DHQ places military on alert. CSOs oppose troop deployment.
This is a new one now. The last one didn't have the military. This one has the military. And this is my take. Again, we don't know what form it's going to take, so it might not be as effective as it should be. Again, I'm going to start to counsel that we must look for other means of protesting without going through the same old path and getting the same result, and in the process getting casualties. There are various other ways by which you can protest. It will take time. That could even be more effective. Unfortunately, people like us are out of service. But it's only that it will take time. But it also has to do with the mindset of our people. It appears as if majority of our people are happy to just grumble in the background and hope that a miracle will happen in their lives and manna will fall from heaven. And that's why, like you found the last time, it's really, in truth, pockets of people here and there. You don't find that when it happens, when things like this happen in other countries, the countries we're trying to copy, you find that everybody, professors, doctors, reverends, in their whatever, they all come out and are ready to stand the ground for days on end. Days on end. People, I remember the story of the gentleman who faced the military tank. I think it was in China. It was about 20 years ago. That story made front page of Time magazine way back then. But we can't keep doing these things, huffing and puffing, and not blowing any house down. That's not to say I'm advising against protests. No, what I'm trying to advise is, let's start other means of protesting to get the same effect. we need to think out of the box. Like the people you are protesting to now or protesting against, they're ready. They know the way you're going to go. They probably sabotaged it already anyway. And at the end of the day, you raise tension, but you are back to where you are, and sometimes it gets even worse. But today is the day the protest is supposed to take place. Let's see what happens. But I suspect that it will just pass. In a day or two, it will just pass. It will just be. And then I now start to ask myself, if I was in government, I would organize a protest against myself that I can manage. Yes, you take care of that's the way the Western world operates. If you're in government, you also plan the opposition, because you know it must surface anyway. So you might as well use people who, at the end of the day, when the crunch comes, are your own people essentially. I'm just talking now out of the situation, really. But we'll see how it goes. But it says here that the military have been deployed. This is the usual talking tough. The military have been deployed, and the military is on alert. The Director of Media Operations, Major General Edward Buba, says that the military is on alert and prepared to support the police in line with constitutional provisions, particularly in the face of breakdown of law and order. A protest doesn't necessarily need to get to breakdown, but sometimes to legitimize its stand in some other places, I don't know about Nigeria, the government itself can plan the breakdown of law and order as a justification for clamping down. These things do happen. All said and done, let us be at peace with ourselves on today, the 1st of October, 2024, 64th birthday of our country.
Yes, indeed. Let's go take. This is another story on the protest, but it's from the Vanguard. Protest police talk tough. Organizers allege intimidation.
Yes, that's what it is. So we'll just take you through the little headlines here. Nobody's harassing organizers. The federal government says that they're not harassing. The IGP orders watertight security. It's the same thing from the playbook. No protest in Abuja, and so on and so forth. We will see where all this is going to lead. Funny story here. Father his son to death, kills nothing mother, injures other.
Now let's go to page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. Bobrisky, FG inaugurates 5-member probe panel,
which is what would have been done in the first instance. I felt so bad yesterday. It was the theater of the absurd. A man, whether you like it or not, is a man, is a citizen, says that, I didn't spend time in prison. Rather, there was a safe house for me where I stayed and enjoyed myself. And then the House of Reps and everybody just goes gaga over an incident that happens every day. It's so sad. An administrative investigation would have solved all this problem, which is what has now been done. But you needed to see if it wasn't for the fact that I had to look at all these things because of my job, I considered it a time waster. Honestly, it was sad to see. And here you are, you needed to see the way people presented themselves in front of the National Assembly. The National Assembly should be worried that they're gradually losing the respect of people. What I saw made me cringe. But I don't want to go further than that. I don't want to pour petrol in a burning fire. But I think on all sides, a sense of responsibility, deep thinking should have taken place. You know, what the National Assembly did, I stand to be corrected, was completely unnecessary. People complain every day about everything. And as far as I'm concerned, on the 64th, a day before the 64th anniversary, the National Assembly should have been planning an open hearing to find out from Nigerians that 64 years after independence, how far have they gone? What are their aspirations? How do they hope to wade through all what is going on, the hunger and whatever it is? Rather, you have somebody, he boasted, for all you know, for all you care, he boasted that, I wasn't in prison. It was done by all this big tough talk, the new culture we have in Nigeria. The talk about public acclamation of who you are. How well connected I am. That's the new Nigeria, we found ourselves in the past 15 to 20 years. Public validation, as my friend will call it. And we fell for it. And some people are benefiting. They get good mentions in the social media and all this. They get the attention, they get the numbers, and so on and so forth. And we found the legislative arm of government complicit without their knowledge. And there it turns out, for example, the man there was a statement yesterday who we were told was suspended, said that he was only suspended in the social media. He was there in this full number 2 uniform. You know, in the armed forces, you have number 1, number 2, and number 3. He was in his number 2 uniform, looking spick and span, and said he's not been suspended. And I think it's sad. I think it's very, very sad. I feel more worried about the president and about the National Assembly getting involved in things like this at this time, when there are teething problems that Nigerians are facing. And we need to do something about a new culture that is cropping up in Nigeria. Unfortunately, it cannot really be legislated, but it can be agreed upon. But we don't have the time. Poverty has wrecked us. And now you find in Nigeria, anything goes. Otherwise, the Nigeria I was born into was 100 times more decent, more livable, more governable than what we have now. And I just pray that Nigeria doesn't become a concrete jungle in the near future. May God help us all.
Amen. I said amen.
That's why I've missed you. You know, I've missed you I've missed you when Kofi was here. He was always concentrating on what I'm wearing. I said that my man will soon be back. What is that amen for? I'm sure you want to say something.
You said a prayer.
But I'm sure there's something on your mind.
Yes, you're right. I mean, there's a lot on my mind. Actually.
I mean, in this particular, it's an irritation.
I think it's just a huge distraction.
It's a distraction.
What irritated me the most was the way House of Reps jumped at it. I was like, okay, so
know.
Is it that you're not busy enough? You are not concerned enough about what the general populace is going through at this point in time?
Yes.
Have you invited any of government agencies that people have complained about? NEC for one, for allowing discourse to migrate people to Band A compulsorily. Whether or not they want to. You did not invite. You have not invited NEC. You have not invited any disco. People even carry banners and placards to protest on this particular issue. No, you did not.
And a panel. What you need is an investigative panel.
I don't think they are busy enough.
What you even need is an investigative panel that will go behind. When you set up, let's say I was the secretary of the government, you set up a panel that includes a director of the DSS. This is police work from behind, not inviting people, and making show out of it, including somebody who called their bluff publicly.
Yeah.
I cringed.
How embarrassing can that be?
I cringed.
Like how humiliating, how degrading
Yes.
can that be? He probably felt that they called them there to come and settle squabble or fight. He didn't even know why he was there. I'm sure he lost whatever he was advised to do. He just lost the plot completely.
Lost the plot and told them that if you get me arrested, I've been to jail a few times. And I said to myself, in public, in parliament, for crying out
I mean,
loud.
who born you to start with?
Public in parliament.
In Nigeria's parliament.
So the question you begin to ask, there's a need to ask one question. Who are the heroes in Nigeria? You need to ask yourself, who are the heroes? Who are the people who pull the crowds and for what reason? A man who decides to dress like a woman suddenly becomes a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
That you needed to have seen the hall was packed full.
Yeah.
Of course, the guy didn't turn up and said that he was ill. Everybody was waiting to watch a spectacle at our own expense.
That's what we're paying.
That's what we're paying them. That's what we are buying the 160 million naira vehicles for each of them for.
This is what we paid for. This is what.
And at the end of the day, they got insulted publicly and could do nothing about it because it wasn't their call. If you want to be respected, there are certain things you don't get involved in. It wasn't their call. It wasn't the call of the House of Reps. and they got insulted in the bargain publicly and could do nothing about it. I hope the speaker would have learned his lesson from this. You must let Nigerians take you seriously. That you're getting involved in something that, what has this got to do with the price of milk and the price of sugar in the market or the price of rice? Very, very sad.
Yes, it is.
Very, very sad. But so the federal government, so before we lose track of this real story, has inaugurated a 5-member probe panel, and it says it will be headed by the permanent secretary, just an administrative panel. It's a relatively simple thing. It happens every day. It's as common as at this morning somebody else is going to enjoy that facility.
They're pretending as if
it's a large event.
About it.
Yes. It's an everyday occurrence. It's like setting up a panel because you roger policeman for checkpoint. Nigeria is a country of privileges. If you have the muscle, you get the privilege. It's as simple as that. And if we are going to talk to ourselves one-on-one, honestly, in all honesty, there are certain Nigerians that will not go behind those bars. It's just the kind of people that we are. And that has nothing to do. I've known about this all my life. In fact, there are some who don't even go to prison at all. They have somebody as well. Is what they call. Should I use your name or my name?
No, please. Let's not use names.
But we have to give a name. Let's use Kofi. This Kofi. No, they have in prison. Say Kofi, but somebody else. Maybe look at Kofi. Kofi is about 6 feet. It's nice, good looking, dresses well. When you call Kofi Patel, one Kukuru Sambe will come up 4 feet 2. He come up and say, "Yes, sir." For 5 years, he'll be there answering. I hope Kofi will. In any case, if you want to follow what was going on there, it churned my stomach, you're free to do that.
Yes, indeed. And just to add to it, there was already an investigative hearing, set up by the agency concerned. So
yes.
I wouldn't know why your House of Reps members down there.
It's full glare. I don't. Was it?
I don't think so. I mean, that would have been. Oh my God! Oh no! Oh no! It's just humiliating. It's humiliating.
Please, in 2027, let me beg you. When it comes to voting the National Assembly, State House of Assembly. These are the key areas by which we can start correcting things in this country.
I agree.
Don't just focus on the president.
I agree. I totally agree.
Don't just focus on the president. And preferably, as a strategic move. Because when you want to vote, you must think of everything in its ramification. Not because he's a Yoruba man like you. No, that's not it. Okay, so even if you are going to vote somebody in, make sure that the person you are going to vote in the National Assembly, at the very least by your own making, would not be somebody who will be in sync with him, so that you can have a balance. Because if we had a thriving House of Reps, like we had in the days of Oyi, Okadibo and Co., there'll be no time for these frivolities. I can assure you.
I mean, where will the time even come from?
There will be no time.
Where will that time come
from? It's
an
administrative... And guess what? It's even from a telephone conversation that was not. We are not even sure if the telephone conversation itself was authenticated. And I'm not going to waste time trying to find out if that is what it is. Anyway, stories.
Let's go to the Metro page of the Punch, please.
Okay, we just rush through it because we still have the health page. Again, another person is missing. Mentally challenged father goes missing. The family is asking for help. The operators of the Delta Yahoo Academy are facing trial, say the police. You remember the academy, Sheriff, when you were away.
I followed up.
You followed us. They were arrested. What else do we have? The Lagos Assembly, holds a public hearing on the market bill. What is the market bill? Let me read this. The bill seeks to establish a law for the registration, formation, and operation of market associations and connected purposes. Remember, there's this controversy about the Yaloja or Babaoloja, all these things. And apparently, I think It was Computer Village that one time took the Yellow General, I don't know names of this, took them to court and won, and so on and so forth. So I think the House of Assembly intends to tidy that. But I don't know why the Lagos Assembly is concerned with a bill for the registration and formation and operations of market associations. Market associations should be done independently. The market people get themselves together, form an association, have their rules, they have trustees, just like landlords association. So those of you who can think rationally, you should please go to the State House of Assembly and say to them that there are still more. Market associations is not the crucial thing that we are talking about, unless there's something sinister behind it. The government cannot regulate market associations. They should be independent. Market associations should be formed by those who are within the market. So because the way we are going, one of these days, somebody is going to impose a president of you in charge of your landlords association in your neighborhood. So I consider this a bit unnecessary, and I feel slightly that maybe there is something sinister behind it. There seems to be an agenda behind it. All the markets have their associations already anyway, and they should be free. They should be free within the law. It's so easy. Like I said, you register it at CAC. You have board of trustees every year or 2 years according to the way you want it. You have your elections. But our politicians, when you see something like this, brace yourself up. There is something behind it, and I think it must be resisted. Our politicians cannot control everything in their favor. They cannot and shouldn't be allowed to. We must create some balance. We must create some balance in the way we do things. And I hope that this is not done to fulfill all righteousness, and it has been decided what is going to happen. And so the event had Speaker of the House, the chairman of the House Committee, explained that the law once passed, the law would ensure effective monitoring of market activities. No, what you need on the government side, you monitor the markets from hygiene, allocation of these stalls, and so on and so forth. But their marketing associations, you must leave the marketers, give them the freedom and the leeway to establish their associations in the manner that they deem fit. It shouldn't be government regulated. Okay?
It's very...
You're lost for words this morning.
Because these headlines are ridiculous.
Ridiculous. No, but it might appear ridiculous to you, but there is a plan behind it.
It still doesn't change the fact that it sounds ridiculous.
It is ridiculous, yes, but it's also a question of... People in Nigeria arrogate things to themselves now.
So very soon now, we would have a bill that would regulate Phone Repairers Association. We'll have
Definitely.
A bill that will regulate something association.
If you allow this one to happen, the next thing is that it will not happen to Landlords Association.
The CDAs. They will regulate them.
Yes. The political class are turning out to be worse dictators than the military. I'm sorry to say. They've turned out to be worse dictators than even the military, such that it makes the fight against the military look like child's play. Because what they do is they have this manner of going behind, using the law as an instrument, and capturing you and denying you of your necessary freedoms. And if we don't resist it, we will live to regret it. A time will come when you'll need a pass to leave your street to go to work every morning, if care is not taken.
It's 7:55 right now. Let's see if we can squeeze in. I think we have time actually.
Okay.
Yes, we do. Let's look at the health.
Okay,
page.
very quickly, so you can have issues. Resident doctors are decrying the harsh working conditions. They are living in droves. There's a shortage of nurses in Nigeria now. I don't know if you've noticed. In Luth, I know for a fact there's a shortage of nurses. In Lassuth, that I got involved in. By the way, I'd like to thank Professor Fabaho. I will never stop thanking him for obliging us at a time we needed it. In Lassus too, we get to know the shortage of nurses. We must do something, whatever it takes. I don't know which is worse, not enough doctors or not enough nurses. Because if you don't have enough doctors, you probably could quickly ship some in from somewhere, you do some consultancy, whatever. But nurses who should be on ground in the wards,
Yeah.
If you have a shortage, it's a disaster waiting to happen. Okay, so also that adopt self-care to avert non-communicable diseases, experts tell Nigerians. Policies to end discrimination against older persons underway. It's not by policy. It's by admission that this is the way we should behave. And we've lost it. Heaven help us all. Pharmacists lament Nigeria's 70% dependence on imported drugs. Japa obsolete facilities hampering health sector growth, says NMA.
Let's take this story here. Obaseki films as Shaibu resumes, inspects projects.
I'm totally disappointed at Shaibu. These things are unnecessary. All of you know the history. So, okay, the court declared him deputy governor. Okay, you've won the election, at least in the first instance, against Obaseki. Obaseki is out of town. Then you go around saying you want to inspect projects, you still want to show that you're the deputy governor. Isn't that infantile? You've won the battle. Don't you want to win the war? Why would you raise tension at a time like this when you know that there's so much tension and you start faffing around? I'm highly disappointed at the maturity of the deputy governor. You don't need it. A tiger does not express his tigritude. It would have been good of him. You've won the case and you stayed back as a mark of maturity. How many days are left? You now say you're inspecting projects. Inspecting the projects to report to who? Politicians need to grow up. And on that note.
Yes, on that note, we have to call it a morning today. No, we're not done yet. You see coming at 9.
And guess who is coming?
Who is it?
Fuadoki. I got him out.
Really?
I got him out.
It's been a while.
He's an APC chieftain, very strong APC chieftain. And I want to talk to him on Independence Day.
Oh, okay. All right. That should be fun.
Yeah.
That's coming out at 9.
I'm so excited. I can hardly wait.
Lagos, that's our show. Let's hand you back now to Kofi Bartels on the Morning Crossfire. Good morning to you.
Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.